Oh, God. Oh my God. Hey guys, it's Kells here today, and I'm back at it again with another video. Today, or tonight, it's late, it's a Saturday night, but I'm home and my face was beat, so I figured I might as well come online. Um, Today, I want to talk about lurking on Bay's social media. Now, I really need you guys, I need you guys' opinion on this topic because this is a serious topic for me right now. And it is the invasion of privacy that is lurking on Bay's social media. So I have a series. So what we're going to do is this is not an Iskel's collective. This was not an email that was sent in to my box. Oh, let me know, guys. Let me know before I get into it. Let me know if we're all clear, if we're pixelated. Can you hear me? Can you see me good? You also know the deal. Come on in. Announce yourself when you come in. Also, let me know what you're sipping on. I am sipping on tonight. I am drinking some cozy chamomile tea. Can you see that? Cozy chamomile tea because it is late. It's a Saturday night. And after I jump off live with you guys, I'm definitely gonna cozy on up into my bed. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get started and drink some cozy chamomile. It actually has me feeling a little like chill right now. So I think this video might be a little bit more chill because it's one, it's late, two, it's a Saturday night, and three, I'm sipping on some chamomile tea. Um, but yeah, so it should be a pretty chill video. I see you guys here on the live. Come on and announce yourself. Let me know where you're watching from and what you are sipping on. Chamomile tea for me. Cheers. Clink, 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 clink. And yes, so let's jump into it. Okay. So I have an issue. And I really need you guys' opinion on this. But even if you don't feel like chiming in, I'm still gonna have a talk about it. I'm still gonna have a chat about it, a little bants about it. And I have a series of questions here that I want to pose to you guys and kind of give you my opinion on the issue. And should you have an opinion as well, feel free as always to chime in the comments. But the topic, as you can read above or below, depending on what you're watching on, is cyber stalking, lurking on New Bay's social media, how acceptable that is, and what we should expect when we're dating as it relates to the information that we put out into the public domain, i.e., on social media. Hey DB, I saw you in the comments. Thanks for coming back. Okay, so first question that I'm going to pose to you guys. So let me take a sip. We're going to go ahead and get started. So, first question I'm going to pose to you guys as it relates to social media and cyber stalking, as I call it. How soon after meeting someone do you actually put their like full government name into Google and start like going through pages and seeing how much information you could dig up on them? That's a legit question. That is a legit question. As I said at the top of this broadcast, if you have an opinion on any of this, please put it in the comments below. I would love for you guys to chime in. Hey, Caitlin, I would love for you guys to chime in and let me know your thoughts as it relates to cyber interrogation, cyber stalking, Googling folk. Hey, Cynthia girl. Hey, girl. Hey. Thanks for joining us. Like, let me know. Oh, I see you just sipping on that ginger. Did you say ginger tea or green tea? I missed it. So let me know your thoughts. Okay, so the first question. How soon after meeting someone do you, oh Lord, oh y'all can't see that. Okay, good. I got notes on the back of this. You don't need to see it. How soon after meeting someone do you actually put their name into Google and start digging them up? So for me, I will say I do understand the benefit of actually, for safety reasons, I do understand the benefit of actually maybe Googling someone, especially someone that you don't know or you just met, just to make sure that it's safe for you to like be going out on dates with this person. And that's obviously from a female's perspective. But in terms of if you take the safety part out of it and you've confirmed that this is a safe person, how soon after meeting them are you like actually putting their name into Google and trying to dig up and see what you can find about them? Are there certain circumstances around that you are aware of, or that makes you more inclined to start Googling somebody? Question. 2 weeks, date number two. Okay, Cynthia says. So for me, what I would say is that I don't necessarily I think when I first started dating, I didn't necessarily, and now granted, this was before Google, I'm gonna tell my age, but this was before all of that was super, super big. You know what I mean? So, or social media wasn't as big as it was right now. So we really, when you met somebody, you really didn't, even now, I really don't run to Google them. I might, I might look at their LinkedIn if I meet them in a professional setting, but unless I really feel like a vibe with them, I don't necessarily go and run to Google them unless I'm going on a job interview with them. Like if I'm going on a job interview or I'm going to a conference or something really professional like that, and I want to meet somebody particular and I want to know more about them, I might Google them and say, okay, oh, I see where they work. Now I know what to talk about with them, because it's pretty acceptable in the professional world to kind of like Google somebody or look at their LinkedIn because you're seen as prepared, right? But isn't it a bit weird that if somebody Googled you on a date, like your first date, and then came to the date and was like, "Oh, I saw that you went to Mexico City on last year when you just met them." Is it me? Is it me? Or is that kind of creepy? You know what I mean? So, how soon do you feel it necessary to Google someone when you first meet them? As Cynthia said, she said it was like 2 weeks. For me, I would say it's about the same. Like, I have to go on a couple dates with you and then be like, oh, wait, I have a vibe. And then I might Google you to like find out more about you or to find out something. But I just don't know if I start Googling right before I meet them. You know what I mean? And so let me. I might, maybe I should start doing that. Maybe I should just be like, meet them, get their business card, and immediately start googling them, or say, oh, I'm going on a date with this. Let me see everything that I can dig up about them. But for me, it's just a little bit awkward, and I think it takes away some of the I don't want to say genuineness, but like the authenticity. The kind of like organicness of the relationship when you're lurking around on them. But that's just me. But let's continue. What other questions do I have as it relates to cyber stalking, as it relates to lurking on somebody's social media? Okay, what exactly are you looking for when you're googling them? So okay, so I would say, all right, so okay, we're on to date 2 or 3, and I feel like, oh, maybe this might be a vibe, but it is kind of creepy. Don't you agree, DB? And this is it's kind of a weird topic to talk about, but I know that Vix G says you need to lurk. I know that it's something that we all deal with with this whole social media, dating climate that we're in, right? So, okay, so what exactly are you looking for? So, Vix, you said you need to lurk. What are you looking for when you're lurking for somebody? Are you looking for a criminal record? Now, if I was lurking on somebody, I would be looking for, okay, is this a criminal? Is this a pedophile? Is this a sex deviant or something like that? Does this person have a record that they need to tell me about? I will say this. Okay, so let me tell you a little story about what I found when I actually did lurk on somebody. And let's talk about lurking etiquette, right? So, hey, Airborne Eclipse, you're on a yoga mat listening from Indy. Hey. So, let me tell you a specific story. So, years ago, I had met this guy in Miami at like Memorial Day weekend, which should have been red flag number one, but your girl was young, so I wasn't even thinking about it. But it was in Miami, and he was like, oh, this doctor, and this Nigerian American guy, and just tall, dark, and handsome, and just doing the most, just the like really, really doing it. And we exchanged information, and then he actually didn't live in Miami, so he was going to be coming back the next weekend for something else. And he was like, "Oh, let's do dinner next weekend. I'm going back to DC, but I'll come back." Totally coincidentally that he lived in DC, but that's where he lived. And and so then the next weekend he came and we went on a date, and everything was great, and I was like, oh my god, is this my husband? Like, I was totally off my rocker. And we went on the next date, and then we were talking on the phone, and about 2 weeks in, as I think Cynthia said, about 2 weeks in, it dawned on me that I had never like looked him up or anything like that. And so I was like, oh my God, this guy's cool. This guy's cool. He was in and out of town or whatever. But, I was really casually dating. I wasn't really thinking that much into it. But it dawned on me like 2, 3 weeks. And I was like, oh, I've never Googled him. And I don't know what. Oh, I know what happened. He was like, oh, send me a picture, because all these dudes always be like, they're professional picture collectors. All they want you to do is send them a bunch of pictures so they can have in their phone. I don't know what they're doing with them, But anyway, so he was like, send me a picture. And I was like, okay, cool, send me one too. So we were exchanging pictures, but he tried to send it from one way in his phone and it wouldn't send. And then he tried a different way to send it to me and it actually sent. And then I noticed that what he sent it from, the one that actually worked, was a different email address than the one he had given me, because we had exchanged phone numbers and email addresses when we first met, like, 2 weeks before. So it was a different email address. So I was like, oh, that's a different email address. So something about it, something told me in my head, oh, Google him or look for his Facebook. I think that's what came up. And so I went to look for his Facebook and there was no Facebook there. And I was like, oh, phew, relieved. Thank goodness. Cause I hate guys that be like heavy on social media. For some reason, it just comes off as very effeminate to me. But I know everyone's on social media. So it might be a little bit of it might be a null point, you know what I mean? But I don't know. I just don't like guys that are heavy on social media. So, so I googled the email address that I had for him, and this is like 2 3 weeks in, and nothing came up. So I was like, oh, good or whatever. And so I went along my day, and then a little bit later, I was like, oh wait, the picture that he sent me came from a different email address. Let me try that one. So I googled that one. I didn't Google that. I put it in Facebook, and it came up with a Facebook profile. So I started looking. And I saw some woman that looked like it might be his wife. And I was like, oh my God. Like, I legit think this guy might be married. Okay. So I was like, oh shoot. So then I was like, yo, that's crazy. Dude didn't mention married at all. Okay. So then I was like, yo, now I gotta go into Inspector Kellyanne, Inspector Gadget, and like looking and Googling and all of this. And, private eye, all of that. So I go ahead and put the email address and his name into Google. Lo and behold, I see baby registry on Babies R Us. I see engagement photo shoot of him and wife. Okay, because that was online. I don't know, when you do your engagement photo shoot, they put it online. I found all types of things showing me that this man was married. You know what I mean? And this was a young guy. He was like, young, we were young. This was a long time ago. And I was like, yo, homie, dead ass married and got baby on the way, baby shower and all of that. I was like, yo, Nigerians. I'm sorry. I gotta be truth. I gotta tell the truth. I was like, yo, these Nigerians are wilding. You know what I mean? And so I say all of that to say, oh, and I had to blast him. So, of course, I had to call him and be like, you are one of the most disgusting human beings I have ever met in my entire life. Why? What? What do you mean? Like, what's good? Like, what's good? Are you or are you not married, my nigga? You know what I mean? Like, it was like, blast. Like, what? You don't have secrets? You don't have, what did this man say? This was years ago. You don't have skeletons in your closet? You don't have skeletons in your closet? I was like, oh my God. So I say all of that to say I do understand the necessity to do a little lurking, a little digging. But let's talk about etiquette when you're lurking and when you're digging, especially when you don't find anything consequential, like the person is married. If you just find out like stuff about, maybe the trips that they've taken, or you've just found out stuff about just casual things about them. Do you just start revealing the things that you know about them to let them know that you have been lurking on them? Now it's a different thing if you find something. If you find something that you don't like, and it's a new relationship, do you just blast them or do you ghost them? You know what I mean? And if you don't find anything, do you let them know that you've been lurking by dropping hints about things that they never told you about? Now, so that's a question, right? Okay. So that goes to the what exactly are you looking for question. And be careful what you wish for. Be careful what you dig for, because you just might find it. You know what I mean? Same thing, ladies, like when they say, do you go through your man's phone? Should you do that? Are you going to be, if you find something that you don't like in his phone, which most likely you will when you lurk in somebody's phone, how are you going to handle the situation? Same thing for social media lurking. If you find something that you don't like, do you blast them about it, or, do you pretend like you don't know because you don't want to come off as a creepazoid Googling and cyber stalking someone? Thoughts on that? Jump in the comments. Let me know, guys. Okay. So here's my other question. How often do you Google how often do you continue to Google the person, right? So, okay, you're in 2 weeks into the relationship or in 2 weeks into dating, and you're like, okay, let me go ahead. I think I'm vibing. Let me go ahead and do my sleuthing and let me Google them. Let me try to look for their social media. Um, that's another question. I want to know, how soon do you exchange social media? Do you do that immediately when you meet somebody typically? Or do you, if you meet them out, you exchange phone numbers? Or do you not exchange phone numbers and you just exchange IG and you message on IG? Or Snap and you message on Snap? Or Facebook and you message on Facebook? Maybe I'm old school. I always exchange phone numbers. And so that allows me to keep my social media separate from this person so that I can find out if I really vibe with them and I really like them. And then I'll slowly reveal my social media to them afterwards. That's my strategy. But you guys let me know your strategy. Do you just message completely on social media, or do you let them know it after a while? But anyway, so how often do you Google them? Okay. So once you get to know them and you meet them and say you don't have their social media, um, but you Google them at the beginning part to try to find out more, more about them. How often do you continue to Google them once you're kind of continuing with dating? So for me, I can understand. I've never continually Googled somebody. I've never continually, lurked on their social media if we didn't exchange that in the beginning. So in the beginning, if we exchange social media, then you look through their social media, or you follow them, and so now you're getting all their feeds. But if we don't exchange social media and I literally had to Google you, I've never continually Googled somebody throughout the duration of the relationship. Have you guys? Is that something typical, like continuous Googling, continuous lurking via Google, separate from lurking on their social media, which, comes in your feed, so you can't really, it's like delivered to you, so you can't really tell. You can't really, it's not really you going out and doing the digging, it's just like kind of hand delivered to you. So, how often do you guys do that? Let me know in the comments. I don't typically do that. I maybe once I Google them in the beginning and I'm like, okay, they're safe, they're cool. I see a little bit about their education, a little bit about their background. I'm good. I can continue on building the relationship. But that's just me. All right. So what else? Do you ever tell them that you've Googled them? Is it creepy to let them know that, oh yeah, I Googled you. Oh yeah, I know what you like. I know that you like skiing. Oh, you went skiing last week. Yeah, I didn't tell you that. How you know that? Oh, I saw it on your I Googled you and you came I saw that you did a blog. You rewrote a blog about it. Do you tell them that you've been lurking? Or do you let the relationship unfold organically? You guys let me know. All right. Um, for me, I would like to be in all honesty, it's a turn off, right? Yeah, it's totally a turn off for me. In all honesty, here's the thing. Yes, you might Google somebody and you might find out something about them, or you might see that they have a presence. But, yesterday on our live, we were talking about mysterious, being a little bit mysterious. And it's not everything that you should reveal, about every single thing. So if you Google them and you found out something about them, keep it in the back of the mind as something that oh, you know about them. But I would not recommend you reveal it to them. Like, oh yeah, I Googled you, because it comes off as creepy and it comes off as stalkerish, even though it's in the public domain. You know what I mean? Just because it's in the public domain doesn't mean that you should bring it up in conversation, letting them know that you have nothing better to do with your time. I don't know, that after you already know them and you already know that they're safe and they don't have a criminal record, why continue to Google them? It can come off as creepy. Now, one thing, you can either reveal it or not, but what happens is that you're doing all that lurking, and then things come up in conversation and you don't remember that they never told you that. You don't remember that they never told you that they went on spring break to Bahamas. So when you are just having conversation with them, and I was like, oh yeah, that time that you went to spring break in Bahamas, and they're in their head like, wait a minute, hold on, wait, when did I tell you I went to spring break in Bahamas? Oh, I think I saw that on your something. But it comes off as creepy. So sometimes you're better off not even doing that much digging, not even getting on the third or fourth page of Google trying to find out more about their life than they've told you. Sometimes it's better to allow it to unfold organically and you to do some questions. Or perhaps, you say, hey, I saw, I know that you told me like traveling. Where have you traveled to? Have you ever been to the Caribbean? Have you ever been here? Have you ever been there? And lead the conversation in that way. Be a little bit, if you gonna lurk, at least be savvy, at least be slick. You know what I mean? At least be good at what you do so you don't make yourself come off as creepy and the person come off as uncomfortable and like, ugh, you're here, you're here on me, bruh. You know what I mean? So maybe, be a little bit slick about how your social media etiquette as it relates to lurking on new bays social media and googling them and ish, you know what I mean? Especially if you've asked them, perhaps you ask them if you're like in a super duper mature relationship and you're like, oh, are you on social media, do you mind if I look on your social media or not? Maybe the respectful thing is to ask them and to actually respect what they say, particularly if you're in a grown adult grown ass relationship. You know what I mean? That might be appropriate. All right, ask and respect their space and ask them if they feel uncomfortable with it, and if they do, then make moves from there, and if they don't, then great, do your digging if you want to dig. Okay, without making anyone feel uncomfortable and you feeling like some inch high private eye or something like that. You know what I mean? Okay. So when does it cross the line from being safe? So might be a little bit for the ladies, and I think the men can be safe as well. When does it cross the line from doing cyber sleuthing and looking at social media and all of that? When does it cross the line from being, oh, I'm being safe to, oh, I'm being creepy? Like, what is that line? You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know if I have a distinct opinion on that, but I would say that there can be a line. I think maybe the line is like the continual googling, the continual lurking, especially if you don't if they're not on your social media, so that their stuff is not just automatically coming up. But the continuing googling, the continual lurking and all of that, it might be getting into some gray, uncomfortable territory there. You know what I mean? But I do understand that, tolerance levels might be different for different folks. You know what I mean? So, again, maybe the best bet is to have the conversation with the person once you are really, really comfortable with them and say, hey, listen, um, Ray Tay Tay, blah, 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 blah. What you think? Are you comfortable? Or, oh, I saw this. I don't want you to, maybe just open up the lines of communication and have a conversation about it. Now, granted, that seems uber adult like and uber mature, and we know a lot of us ain't on that maturity level. So it might be wishful thinking to actually have that kind of conversation with folks, but I gotta throw it out there as an option for you guys. Maybe some of us are super duper mature and can have that conversation without feeling corny. All right, what else? Okay, DB says the line for me is if it's consistent. It takes too much out of the process of building a relationship. I agree, DB. To continually there goes those shadows again. To continually be lurking and googling and doing the most, like, you know, it's weird to me. So the continual is where it crosses the line from, oh, I've googled you, I know that you're safe, now let's build this relationship and let me get to know you as a normal human being, into I'm obsessed with your online presence and I want to know what you're doing and what you're talking about and when, and it's okay to do it because it's you put it out there, so I can do what I will with it, kind of thing. So to me that's weird. All right, long-term lurking basically. So do you ever feel guilty for lurking, or do you feel justified for doing your research, covering your bases, making sure that you're being safe? Now, as you guys heard when I talked about the when I talked about the dude that was married and I found it out, um I did not feel guilty for that, because what happened was, as I said before, I didn't initially Google him right off the bat, because at that time I just wasn't in the mindset, and I just met him, and the vibe felt good. When my gut told me, "Oh, you should Google him," that's when I Googled him. So I feel like ladies especially, and men have intuition as well, but I feel like there's a point at which your gut starts to give you a little bit of red flags, and that's when you'll go ahead and like you'll be like, oh shoot, let me Google. You know what I mean? So if you're having red flags about a situation and you Google and you find something bad, then clearly there's no need to feel guilty because your kind of intuition was telling you what was up. So you had to listen to it. But you know maybe there's no justification, maybe there's no red flags, and you don't have any real reason to, after the first lurk and like, okay, they're not a criminal, you don't have a real reason to continue to lurk. Do you ever feel guilty for doing so? And I know sometimes it's a little guilty pleasure and we don't like to admit it, you know what I mean? But is it an invasion of privacy? Even though it is out in the public domain, do people have personal personas that are different than their public persona? Those of us that do YouTube videos, those of us that have a lot of social media following, will tell you point blank, period. Who you are, who you present to be on your social media is not necessarily the exact same person that you are in the real life. So those of us that know people in real life should consider yourself a little bit privileged to know the person. And so if you're continually lurking on their social media, kind of presence, it's kind of disrespectful to the person because you're saying that who they are in real life is not necessarily entertaining or important enough. You have to go dig into their persona, into their. Sometimes social media is a business, you know what I mean? You have to go dig into their business to find out even more about them instead of allowing the relationship to unfold and allowing them to be comfortable to tell you face to face, one on one, who they are, or for you to see it over the long run. So it can kind of, as I said, creepy. When you say creepy, when you explain the feeling a bit more, it can be slightly disrespectful. You know what I mean? To be like, oh, okay, I'm more interested in continually Googling you and continually looking on your social media and seeing what you're putting out there. Not in the sense of I'm being supportive of you or, but in the sense of I want to know what you're doing every waking moment. And if you don't tell me, then I'll still figure it out because I got too much time on my hands, or, I feel entitled to the every bit of information that you put out about yourself. You know what I mean? So it can come off as like creepy. Now, if I'm like, listen, if you guys want to play devil's advocate, jump in the comments right now and tell me your thoughts on, is social media snooping, sleuthing, is it justified? And when is it justified? And when is it not justified? When does it cross the border from totally necessary when you're dating in the modern world to creepazoid, get a life? Why do you keep Googling that girl? You know what I mean? Jump in the comments and let me know. Okay. What else do we want to talk about as it relates to cyber stalking, social media research, sleuthing, Googling people, looking through their IG, looking through their Twitter, looking through their Instagram, looking through their Facebook, digging up their old pictures from 2009, trying to see what they looked like back then. When is that okay? And, what are your thoughts on it as people that are dating out here in this crazy dating world? All right. Is there a happy middle ground? Is there a happy middle ground? Is there a place where you can be maybe open and honest with your research that you're doing on their social media? Or does social media interrogation, does it always lead to some sort of argument, some sort of hindrance in the relationship? Everybody knows that nowadays people talk about how Facebook can be the detriment of a relationship, how Facebook can hurt a relationship because both of you guys are on both of each other's social media and you looking and some girl puts a heart on this picture or some girl puts a smiley face or she liked too many of your pictures or he likes too many of your pictures and it pops off in a relationship. You know what I mean? Because both of you guys are like looking too hard on who's following who and people become jealous. Has that ever happened in your relationships? Social media sabotaging your relationship in some sense because too much information is, I guess, being shared or the information is being looked into too hard. Has that ever happened in your relationship? I don't know. Is there a happy middle ground? Ignorance is bliss. Is ignorance bliss? Do you have to know every single thing? Do you have to know every single person that your man flirts with? Do you have to know every single person that your girl flirts with? Or not even in a monogamous relationship, but say, excuse me, just getting to know each other. DB says yes, social media has sabotaged the relationship for him. Not even so. What if it's not? What if you're not in a relationship? What if you're dating? Do you have to know every single thing about the person? Do you have to know every single post that they put? Is there a jealousy issue already emerging as it relates to you digging through every single bit of their social media? And, can that really put a block in your relationship? Can it throw a wrench in the whole get up? And y'all not even monogamous yet. You know what I mean? So it can. So you do have to be careful with social media. And social media is crafted. Media in general is very, very crafted. So who my heat just went on. You probably hear it in the back. So who maybe a person put the images that people put out. They're putting out their very best images. Nobody's gonna put out, for the most part. Some people do. I do have some sad videos on my channel, so sometimes I put out some really real videos, and so I know other people do as well. And not only videos but images and stuff like that. But you know you have to understand social media is crafted, right? So if you're over analyzing and digging and doing the most, are you getting a true picture, or are you fooling yourself? Are you really being fooled? For me, as I said yesterday in our broadcast, going out and meeting people in real life, that's what I like. I don't like online dating for that same reason. It's too crafted, and it doesn't tell the true picture. You know what I mean? So the same thing can be said about this. You're cyber stalking and digging and looking and doing the most and throwing wrench in the relationship over a false narrative. You know what I mean? And a sense of an invasion of privacy, or a sense of an invasion of individualism. So clearly, if something's put out on social media and it's in the public domain, it's not necessarily private, but it is an individual's crafted, curated space. So if they say to you, can you, back up off my social media, or, give it a breather, shouldn't you respect that and say, okay, that's the individual, that's their individualism. I don't have to be all up on every single thing that they do. Let me give them space to be an individual and express themselves without me searching and sifting and digging through. That's another perspective. My nose is that's another perspective that you could consider when you're looking at social media, and not trying to get the happy medium between keeping yourself safe and understanding the true picture and what's going on. The true picture, social media doesn't give you the true picture, but whatever, and googling doesn't give you the true picture, but trying to piece the picture together, going from there at the beginning of the relationship to continually trying to infringe on the individualism of the person, and maybe kind of suffocating them a little bit, and then bringing that drama and that putting a microscope on everything they do, bringing that into the relationship and sabotaging the relationship because of it. So I guess you want to get into that happy medium space. Where is that? Is there such a thing? All right. And and how quick, I think we talked about this, how quickly do you exchange social media? Do you do that, do you do that early in the relationship? Do you exclusively chat on Snap, or exclusively exchange IGs before you do your personal phone number? And what happens when you see something that you don't like? So you continually lurking, and then you find something that you're like, that's a little suspect. How do you bring that up in conversation without looking like a stalker? You know what I mean? And as I said earlier, you might end up, accidentally spilling the beans, telling on yourself. You might accidentally tell on yourself because you say something like, "Oh yeah, I remember when you told me I went that you went to the library," and then I was like, "But I didn't tell you I went to the library." Which of my social media are you on? Oh, well, I only sent that on Twitter, so you lurking on my Twitter now? You know what I mean? Like things like that. Now, especially when you're not in a relationship, when you're just starting to date, you know what I mean? And you're just like everybody dating everybody, and then you like, "Oh, I've been on your Twitter." It comes off as a little bit weird, I gotta say. So, I mean, even if you lurking, be low key about it, be smooth about it, I would say. You know what I mean? So, those are my thoughts on social media kind of research, kind of Googling and lurking and stalking. I use the word lightly. I use the word lightly. Obviously, we're not talking about legitimate cyber stalking where somebody's doing like illegal things, you know what I mean? But we're talking about, just the casual, oh, I looked you up on LinkedIn before I came to this interview. Oh, I did a little cyber stalking and I looked you up on LinkedIn. I saw that you went to the University of Florida and you're a Gator. I went there as well. Da 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 da. Is That's what I'm talking about in terms of cyber stalking. So I'm not talking about the criminal act. Just to clarify, just to make sure we're on the same page. But yeah, so, those are my thoughts about social media etiquette and, maybe being a little bit careful about how you come across when you're doing that. And maybe, not saying that you're not going to do that because at the end of the day, we're all human, but how it comes across to the other person and potentially having a mature conversation stance on it after a while to say, hey, are you okay with this? Are you okay with that? I want to respect you as an individual. And we have, if there's nothing, if there's one thing in this relationship, there must be trust. And so I'm gonna trust that you're telling me the truth in the adult, and I'm telling you the truth in the adult, and I don't gotta go searching through your phone, when you're in the bathroom. I don't gotta go lurking on your IG when when you're turning your back or lurking on your Snap. And to me, those things are kind of synonymous, right? So just as much as you wouldn't, we've come to learn that you wouldn't really pick up your girlfriend or pick up your man's phone and go searching in it. You know what I mean? Just as much as we kind of come to that place where, respect somebody, even though their phone's unlocked and it's sitting on the bed and, you're with them doesn't mean that you should just jump in their phone and go look. I think the same thing could apply to social media profiles and social media, because at the end of the day, we all know that it really is only going to serve to throw a wrench in a relationship. Just as much as you going through somebody else's phone is not going to do nothing but throw a wrench in a relationship. You know what I mean? So I think maybe we should consider those on the same kind of playing field. But let me know your thoughts. I'm going to jump in the comments right now. I'm not going to be on too late tonight because it's Saturday night and it's already late. But I had to bring you guys this topic because, first of all, it's on my head and on my heart. And second, I need you guys to give me your opinions on this as well, because this is a touchy subject. I understand. But I think it's one that has not been discussed a lot in the realm of dating. And it plays a big part in modern dating. Don't you guys think so? Don't you think so? I think it plays a massive part in modern dating. And so I think it's something that we should have open, candid conversations about. And maybe we can come to some sort of consensus on what's respectable, where the etiquette lies, where the happy medium is, and how you cannot sabotage yourself and the dignity of the other person and the respect in the respect and the trust in the relationship. Let's jump into the comments, shall we? Let's do it. Okay, let's see what you guys have been saying. All right, DB, you're in Chicago, strumming on the guitar. Ooh, you can play the guitar. Nice. Um, I see you ladies telling me, hey. Santhia again says she starts Googling after date number 2 weeks. DB says face value for me is not a priority unless I sense craziness. LOL, but not truly a priority. I agree with that. I think your gut and your intuition will always tell you, will always put a red flag when you should Google. You know what I mean? And sometimes you don't even have their full government name to be Googling them right off the bat anyway. You know what I mean? So sometimes you have to get the date too and say, you know what? You're worth me spending my time to Google. What's your full government? Okay, John Brown. Where you work at, John Brown? Oh, okay, you work at real estate company XYZ. Great. Thank you. You know what I mean? I think sometimes it's a little bit more important to Google when you are doing dating like Tinder. on them kind of dangerous, swipe left, swipe right apps where you don't know the person at all. You know what I mean? And so you might, for safety reasons, you might need to do a little, little quick background check. You know what I mean? Like police.org and see what kind of record rap sheet they have. But, in other such situations where you've been introduced by friends, or meet them at work, or you meet them at the gym, or you see them at the gym every day and you know that they live in your neighborhood, excuse me, doesn't mean that they're not crazy or a criminal, but the red flag might not be so immediate for you. And you might even forget to Google, and then you go on to the go on the relationship, and then you're like, oh wait, let me go ahead and Google. You know what I mean? But does it need to be your sport? It's like you're dating sports. Like, oh, let me get this dude's number so I could Google him right quick. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just something weird about that. But I do understand that it's necessary. So, it's that gray space. It's that gray space. Vic says you need to lurk. Tell me why you need to lurk, Vix. Hey, Kells, I genuinely want to know what are some reasons that you need to lurk, and is it immediate or is it down the lane? Vix, lifestyle and checking boxes. Great. So when you lurk on them, do you reveal everything that you find, or you just keep it in your back pocket, keep it in the back of your mind? Are you good at lurking where you don't make the person feel like you're a crazy stalker, or do you not care if they know and you just let it out? Oh yeah, I saw that you da 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 da. Yep, Googled you. DB says phone numbers, and then I go slowly from there. Okay. But I know some of the younger people might do social media exclusively. So, Santhia says mention carefully, use scenarios, and see if they tell you. I use Instagram. So that's like if you lurk and you kind of want to, you want to make sure that you don't creep them out, but you just want to use it to make sure you let them know that you have something in common, right? So again, it's about understanding the compatibility between you and the person. But once you've established that compatibility and that it's safe, is it necessary to continue on lurking and continue on cyber stalking, right? So you've established compatibility, or you established that they're safe and that, they're not a criminal or anything like that, or they're not crazy. You establish that, oh my gosh, we have a lot of compatibilities. Is that enough to cut out the looking, or is it just a compulsion, and you're just like, going to continue on looking forever for the full of the relationship? Santhia says not often, must detox from social media to really get to know the person. Get to know the person, not the social media persona. If someone Googles me, you'll see two goofy smiling pics, shaking my head, but I just don't want someone to dig that deep. Professionally, I can see the effort and arguments, but that's where it should stop. There is a line for me, it's consistent. It takes too much out of the process of building relationship. Yep, I agree. We said that earlier. DB says, well, if one has a vast network, it can be a problem. I have a vast network of people I know, from high net worth folk to regular folk like me, so I take it seriously. Me personally. I don't remember what we were talking about there, though, DB. Yes, once I remember he said a relationship got ruined by social media stalking, social media sabotage. The jealousy can definitely seep in when you're lurking too hard on social media. Absolutely. And it's just another hurdle in building a relationship that you really don't need. But I do understand it is sometimes it's a little bit of compulsion. It's a little bit, people are a little nosy, you know what I mean? So I bring this to the dating conversation so you guys can know, looking too deep might cause, some problems if you're only dating, and if you've already established that they're safe, and you already established that there's some compatibility there. So, be careful with that. Just like I said, just as much as you wouldn't really go through your dude phone unless you really, really felt like some red flags, it might not be necessary to continually go through your so and so's social media unless you really feel some red flags, or if something in the relationship tells you that something might not be the truth, right? Anyway, I do these videos so you guys know you're not out here alone in this sometimes crazy dating world. If this is your first time here, I'd love to have you subscribe. And if you're a returning viewer, good looking out, thanks for coming back. Oh my god, I always mess up my thing. Do me a huge favor and make sure to give me a thumbs up on this video. It helps to get noticed in this crazy big crazy world of YouTube. And if you like the content we're doing over here on It's Kells Collective, then definitely be sure to subscribe and turn your notifications on so you know when we go live. And we usually go live Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. Also, I do have some merch. I did see that Patricia Bright and Jamie and Nikki dropped their merch today, which is so weird because I'm like, y'all are at 1,000,000 subbies and you just dropping merch. And little old Kells is at like 3,800 subbies and I dropped merch like 2 weeks ago. I did feel a little bit like proud of myself. So if you want to support the thing, if you want to support the collective, then in the box below, you'll see It's Kells Shopify store. Take a peek and perhaps you want to get some merch. And P.S. we do have a discount code. It's Kells 18 for 18% off. So yes, all capital letters, all together, all one word. So yes. Anyway, I saw another comment coming from Airborne Eclipse. If you like anyone enough to consider letting them be close, they can go on my Facebook and see whatever they want. I'm just me. They can like me how I am or simply not be close. So you're okay with letting them be into your social media and your Facebook, which I am as well, but I think you kind of have to get to that point. I just don't hand over the keys to my social media to any old Tom, Dick, or Harry. You know what I mean? You got to earn that, you know what I mean? And if you're already getting to know me on a one-on-one personal basis, then over the longer term, then I do find it a little bit weird and disrespectful for you to continually lurk. I do understand that it's a compulsion and we're all human and we all want to, we're all inquisitive and intellectually curious and all of these big words that mean nosy. But just tread lightly because it can throw a wrench in the relationship, I would say, because I know personally I would feel really, really awkward if that was happening to me. And yeah, let's see, DB. Last comment, and then we're gonna jump for tonight. It is a Saturday night. Shouldn't you guys be out? Shouldn't you guys be like, it's even what's this green holiday again? What's the green holiday? Is it St. Patrick's Day? Yeah, it's St. Patrick's Day. Shouldn't you be out like guzzling? We're gonna go, guys. Excellent video, Kells. Thank you, boo. And yes, I will be purchasing a mug. Don't know. It will play the. If it will. If I. It will. Styles, but the one with the lips is the best seller actually, and it's a little bit different style than this. Flying tomorrow, no beer, of course. Better safe than sorry, DB. We have one cup with the lips, but we also have one that has squad. So the cups on the site don't exactly look like this. There are 3 different versions. We have a Ferocity and Grace line. We have the Cupid's Bow, Kisses and Cupid's Bow line, and then we have the squad line of merch on the Shopify store. So if you're interested, take a peek, but you don't have to. It's not a big deal. It's just if you want to support, then I would appreciate it. Anyway, good night, guys. Thank you. Thank you for obliging me on Saturday.